We like to believe time moves forward always, but that's not entirely true. Scattered across the U.S., there are towns where progress showed up and got ignored. Not abandoned, not preserved for tourists, just paused. And here's where it gets weird. These places still work. Same streets, same systems, same habits. But then you notice what's missing. No rache, no upgrades, no constant reinvention. What nobody tells you is some of these towns didn't fall behind. They avoided the trade-offs everyone else made. This isn't surface-level nostalgia. This is what happens when time stops negotiating. What they kept might be what everyone else burned through. So today, we're breaking down 10 U.S. towns that didn't evolve past the 1960s and somehow never had to. No branding, no filters, no fake vintage aesthetic, just real places where the past didn't leave. Number 10 is Silverton, Colorado. If your life requires Wi-Fi, Silverton would have a word with you, though they probably wouldn't email it. At 9,300 feet, Silverton isn't just remote, it's selectively disconnected. Population, roughly 600 people. Median home price floating around $450,000 to $600,000. In a place where winter can literally cut you off. Average rent, if you find it, expect $1,200 plus for something creative. Tourism-driven economy, summer trains, winter survival mode. Crime, practically non-existent. Because honestly, where are you going to run? Down a mountain? But here's the twist. Silverton didn't freeze in the 60s because it's charming. It froze because modern infrastructure looked at it and said, you're on your own. No big box stores, no traffic lights, and until recently, even cell service was optional. What nobody tells you is this place didn't preserve the past for aesthetics. It just never fully upgraded. Living here isn't nostalgic. It's a commitment. Winter hits, and suddenly your Amazon Prime dreams die on a snowy road 50 miles away. Jobs limited, mostly tourism, local services are figured out. Healthcare, not exactly around the corner. But then people stay. Why? Because what Silverton lacks in convenience, it over-delivers in clarity. No noise, no rush, no algorithm telling you what to do next. One local reportedly said, you don't move to Silverton for opportunity. You move here because you're done chasing it. And that sounds poetic until your pipes freeze. Let's talk about winter. Not cute snowflakes. I'm talking your car is now a decorative object until April. You don't drive. You negotiate with ice. Locals will say you get used to it. No, you don't. You adapt like a survival documentary. Number 9 is Madawaska, Maine. Drive far enough north in Maine, and the road signs stop being in English and start welcoming you to the Republic of Madawaska. Population about 4,000. You can get a decent house for under $200,000. Rent is affordable but scarce. You pay for that affordability in isolation. An hour to Walmart. 2 hours to a specialist. The main industry is a paper mill that anchors the town's identity. But what defines Madawaska? Population about 3,500. It brands itself as Little Sweden. The town center is a deliberate throwback with Swedish bakeries and artisan shops. Median home around $180,000. Rent under $900. Lindsborg didn't forget to progress. It chose community over convenience. Crime is low. Neighbors are involved. Daily life is structured around festivals and art fairs. It's a place where the 1960s thrived and refused to leave. You go to Lindsborg not to escape, but to belong to a place with a concrete history. Number 7 is Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. The name sounds like a game show because it is. The town renamed itself in 1950 after a radio program. Population about 6,000. This desert town is a monument to mid-century kitsch. Vintage motels and diners aren't retro, they're original. Median home price around $150,000. Truth or Consequences feels like the 1960s as a living structure. The pace is leisurely. It's a magnet for artists and retirees. People don't move here to get ahead. They move to stop chasing the future and start living. Number 6 is Port Townsend, Washington. Here the pause is about stubborn pride. Population about 10,000. Once a bustling seaport expected to become a major West Coast port, but the railroad never arrived. The result is a breathtaking collection of Victorian architecture that wasn't preserved for tourists. It was just too expensive to replace. Median home price around $500,000. In the 1960s and 70s, Port Townsend became a counterculture hub, attracting artists to beautiful, affordable buildings. That cultural freeze persists. Slow pace, artistic priorities, engaged community. Port Townsend doesn't want to be found by the mainstream. It leverages isolation to maintain an older, more deliberate quality of life. Number 5 is New Harmony, Indiana. Founded in 1814 as a grand social experiment. Population about 700. New Harmony feels utterly detached from the modern world. Historic homes, quiet streets, pace measured by conversation. The median home price is around $200,000. It has an aura of peace signs and communal gardens. Your neighbor will lend you a tool and ask about your day. This town decided it had enough growth, enough change, enough noise, and it simply stopped. Number 4 is Mount Airy, North Carolina. Famous as the inspiration for Mayberry. Population about 10,000. Median home around $180,000. Beneath the tourist veneer lies a deeply traditional community unchanged for generations. Church on Sunday, work on Monday, dinner together on Wednesday. The 1960s defined not just the aesthetic, but the social contract. Community is palpable. In Mount Airy, they do things the old way. Number 3 is Eureka, California. Population about 27,000. Median home price approaches $400,000. Eureka maintains a small-town mindset. The economy, historically timber and fishing, has stalled into a slow blend of tourism and services. Anti-development attitude runs deep. They've seen what rapid growth does and resisted it. Eureka feels like the end of the line because it is. No reason to hurry when there's nowhere else to go. It's a place to escape, and the town is okay with you staying that way. Number 2 is Jerome, Arizona. Population about 450. Perched on Cleopatra Hill. Once a booming copper mining town, but when the mines closed, the population plummeted. In the 1960s, it was a nearly empty relic. That gave Jerome its character. It survived because it was almost forgotten. It became a haven for artists and bohemians drawn to isolation. The 1960s in Jerome was about preservation through neglect. Now it's a tourist attraction, but it hasn't sanitized its history. A vertical town with winding streets and buildings clinging to the mountainside. Step into Jerome, and you step into a genuine, jag version of the past. Number 1 is Centralia, Pennsylvania. The most literal example of a town frozen in time, but for a terrifying reason. In 1962, a fire started in the underground coal mines. It has been burning ever since. The ground is unstable. The air is toxic. The town was condemned. Residents were forced to leave. Today, fewer than a dozen people live there. This is the ultimate pause. It's not just the 1960s frozen in Centralia. It's the exact moment everything went wrong. It shows the tragic side of a town that didn't evolve. It's a haunting reminder that stepping off the treadmill of progress isn't always peaceful. These towns are more than a list. They reflect our anxieties about where we're going. In a world demanding constant growth and reinvention, these places offer a quiet rebellion. They ask us what we're losing in our pursuit of progress, and whether we're sure we want to find out. These towns don't have the answer. They just have the courage to live the question.